I think with that,
Awesome.
welcome everyone to today's exciting Unleashing FME 2015 webinar. This is an introductory, high-level webinar about all the things that are great in FME 2015. We're going to follow it up with two more detailed ones in a couple weeks' time. My name is Dale Lutz. I'm one of the co-founders of Safe Software, coming to you from our auxiliary control room here in the Safe Software headquarters in Surrey, BC.
And I'm Don Murray, and I'm coming to you from the west in sunny but cold Ottawa.
Yes, so we've got we're almost like we can't be in the same place at the same time. So Don and I don't broadcast together anymore. We're separated by several provinces.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in today to talk with us and find out what's going on. Before we get going, I do want to invite you to pepper our panel. We've got Mark Stokes and Robin Rennie at least, and maybe others from our professional services team standing by to take your questions. So pepper them, and we're going to have questions and answers at the end as well when we can review some of the things. Robin and Mark, be ready to chime in then, because neither Don nor I will have had a chance to look at the questions, so we're going to rely on you to talk with us then.
Yeah,
so
they must be ready.
They must be. So we thought we'd start off just for a few seconds to reflect briefly about why SAFE does what it does. What makes us wake up in the morning? What makes us want to fight with all these issues that we fight with, platform issues, format issues, version issues, revision issues, byte order issues, data volume issues. Don, do you have a few more issues that you want to add?
Well, there's XML issues, and there's no end of those, and so every release we certainly work on those too.
Right. So we are motivated to try to make those issues go away for you. We want to take that pain, and so you don't have to. And so one of our things is that your data shouldn't be locked up behind proprietary systems, nasty data models, formats that you can't work with. We want you not to have to suffer under that, and you should have the power to turn coal into diamonds more or less instantly, and that's all around the idea of being able to connect to things.
That's right. That's right. At SAFE, we believe that the data is the power, and the last thing you want is it locked into one proprietary system or one system where you're forced to use that. The way you truly get power out of data is to be able to move it to wherever you need to use it, so you can use the best tools at your disposal, and never have to worry about where the data is. From turning coal into diamonds, I was excited by that, because that's a big one for some people at Christmas are probably wondering what to do with all their coal. So now they know they get FME and they can turn it into diamonds.
Exactly. We also, and this one I got to give credit to our friend Paul Ramsey, who spoke at our FME user conference in 2014. But we really do believe that your data should be much more of a liquid than a rock. So you shouldn't need to get out a hammer and chisel to take that data and make it into that beautiful statue of Michelangelo. Instead, you should be able to pour it into a nice mold and put it in the freezer while you're sleeping, and out comes a Michelangelo statue.
Yeah, and really, it comes down to, we talk about powering the flow of data, or is it the flow of data that's valuable? But at the end of the day, like water, it's when data's moving that really you're getting the value from it, not when it's locked in in a rock or whatever. You need the data to be moving, flowing, and that's really where you're generating the information that is the power that you need, and FME is all about that.
The water flows through the turbines of decision making. Is that what we'd say, Don?
Oh, I like that. I wasn't going to say that, but I will now.
Yes. So that's all around this idea that you have to be able to transform that data. You need to be able to change it from the shape that it is in to what you need it to be, and you need that to happen easily. And so that's around this idea of us transforming things for you. We also think that data should be able to move on its own. Yeah. So you don't have to sit there and go click, 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 click for every single thing that's happening. You should be able to sit back, relax, and let things just happen and react. And this is where you spend a lot of your time, Don, in the automate side of things.
Exactly, with FME Server, and that's really what it's about. At the end of the day, what SAFE is selling is the FME engine. And Server really is a tool on top of that enables you to set up things, to sort of set it and forget it. And now with FME 2015, we've added new ways, which you're going to see, whether it be a file arrive, an email arrive, an S3 object arrive, something from a sensor, email, whatever. So really, automation is define what you want to do and what's going to make it happen, and just sit back and let it go.
I know that for some of our friends coming to us from the BIM world are quite shocked at the concept of basically automation applied to data movement, because their tools have not been structured in that way. And so we can bring lots of value to GIS people, to CAD people, to BIM people, to people with just data in general, any kind of even non-spatial in this automation side of things. You set it up, like Don said, set it and forget it, and it just moves.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing more and more. We're seeing, while we still have, we focus on making sure we do a great job on spatial, we have more and more customers out there who don't have any spatial data, but they just want to automate their processes so they can have their users, their expensive people doing other things. So.
Yes. So really, the net
I really
of
like
all
this
this
slide,
is,
Dale. I really like how you.
Well, I got to give credit to Stephanie. She's the artiste here, but really, the net of all of why we come to work, why we have assembled this amazing team of now about 110 or more people, Don. The net of it is that we want you to be able to use your data, your organization to use its data wherever, however, and whenever it's needed. So the three things we do is we connect, we transform, we automate. That solves those three things and should empower your organization to really leverage one of its most valuable resources, and that is its information.
Yeah. And every release, if you want to know where SAFE's spending its time, it's exactly those three things connect. We're going to talk about each of them, how we've expanded each of those three things in this release.
Yes. And that gets us to FME 2015, which we're here to talk about today. This is our splash screen, and we think that it kind of summarizes what we're up to. For those that have been in the FME world for a long time, we went to Easter Island, I think in, when was it, Don? 2005 or 6? No, maybe it was later than that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Oh, boy, I think it was later than that, but yeah, 6 years ago anyway.
So we're back at Easter Island, but this time it's made with blocks.
That's right. And we still have our lizard friend, and you can tell that he's embraced automation in a whole new way this year, because now he has time to sit back in his lawn chair with his sunglasses and drink his iced tea or whatever he's doing there. But he's looking more crocodile-like over time too.
Don and I were talking earlier this morning, and we were commenting that he's probably a typical FME user. After they've got everything all set up, they can just sit back and let the data move while they are relaxing, and that's really our goal.
That's right. Many of our users we visit have those lawn chairs, in fact, in their offices.
Yes, indeed. So let's begin by talking about the Connect, and it truly is the case that it's an ever-expanding world of data, wouldn't you say, Don?
Yeah, and still, no matter how many formats or systems that we add, which we use the term systems more and more than formats as we move to a connected world, there's just more and more ways that people want us to connect. So truly, people see the value of the whole transformation. They're just being drowned in a sea of data, and so the one thing we work on a lot is being able to connect to more and more of that data, so you can bring the power of the FME engine to the FME, and to your organization. Yeah.
So this is a graph which actually undersells the amount of connectivity, and Don, I may need to start a new graph here because I'm not counting any of the web service systems that we can get at in the transformation engine of FME. So the official count would be 336, and this is going back, the 9 was in, about 1997, I guess?
Yep. That was a good release too, 147. We were very proud of that release. I remember that one. Yeah.
I don't know what our numbering scheme was.
And it also, you'll see. Yeah. And this graph also, like we'll see in a minute, one of the things we added, JDBC, that's just one. That's counted as one format. We don't throw in all the formats that can connect through that, like ODBC is another one. So, so that's just another way that really it understates the number of systems that FME can connect to things. So.
And I think this also undersells the value.
GML, of course. I got to do a plug for GML here, of course, and XML. I mean, there's just hundreds of formats right there. So. Yes.
And in terms of our commitment to our users, the kind of millstone that we carry around is that we have to keep all these up to date. So while this release, it looks like we only added 11, I can assure you that dozens, if not hundreds, of the old formats got love, because things like DWG, things like DGN, MapInfo, Geodatabase, they all keep evolving and getting newer features that our users want to use, and our commitment is that we're going to stay on top of them. And I won't even start talking about XML.
Or Excel. I mean, there's another one,
Yes.
right, where it's not a new format, but we spent a lot of time just making it better, right? So, yeah. So
actually, one of the
again,
development
feedback
team,
from users is so key.
we pick the key formats, and we have what we call a development big rock on our Trello board that says make Excel awesome. And so every release we try to pick a couple of the older formats to make awesome. And so we hope we've done that in this release.
That's right. You make Excel as awesome as XML.
Yes. So we thought we'd lead by one of the new formats we added was Minecraft, and there's going to be a whole webinar on this, but it's not really just for kids. It's amazing the different applications in terms of making data accessible, making the public, or at least a young demographic, be able to understand what's going on. In this example, Dimitri actually has taken Easter Island, and we took a DEM of Easter Island, and we also took, I think, a SketchUp or an OBJ model of those statue dudes, and planted them around the island and made a Minecraft world. And lo and behold, when he got in there was horses running around. So we don't know what that's about, but Stephanie was happy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Minecraft is fun, and so we're seeing organizations in Scandinavia, Denmark, Sweden. We're seeing in the U.S. as well, people showing some things like parks and whatever in Minecraft, so that in buildings and cities, and just a way to embrace the public, so that they can see what's going on, and it's a great way to share all your data and information about your systems. Yeah.
So here's
what's this one we got here?
Yeah, this is actually from a friend of ours in, I think, Milwaukee or somewhere in that part of the United States. That's a concrete guy gave us an IFC file, so that's a building model file. And on the left, you see that IFC file rendered. On the right, you see that IFC file inside Minecraft. And so you can start to see a very simple visualization world that you can put these buildings in effortlessly, frankly, and then wander around and explore what they're like.
Yeah, fantastic. And you can see in this case, because it's just the steel girders and everything, it looks remarkable.
Yes.
Looks great. Yeah.
So SharePoint, I know many of our enterprise customers are lined up like these guys, waiting for SharePoint to arrive, and it has. Don, have you had a chance to play with it some?
Just a little bit, just with the list stuff, which is what we do in this release. But I'm looking forward to playing with it more and building scenarios where SharePoint maybe acts as a trigger towards some automated data flows and things like that. And there's been many users who have asked for this, and this is only the beginning. We don't think the SharePoint thing's done. It's a massive system, and so we've identified the thing that most people wanted, and then we'll continue to work on from there. But we're pretty excited about this one. So please give us feedback if you try it. What's good, what's bad? We definitely want it.
Yeah. The Geo package, the format to end all formats, but it actually has a lot of great things going for it.
How many times have we heard that?
I think that these guys in the picture have heard it many times over their lives. But
yes, I think so.
Yeah, it has a lot of good things going for it, and it's basically a SQLite file database that can hold vectors and rasters. In our first release here, we're just doing the vector part. But it's a full spatial database, basically.
Yeah, no, it's very exciting, and it's used. I guess mobile workflows is one of the big areas that they're used. Yeah,
that's one key place. Yep. Now this is one I know that actually this morning even we're sending an example to one of our architectural firms that we work with that gave us a thing last night that said, hey, we've got an AutoCAD file, and Don would love it with some scary extended entity data. That's up your alley, I know, almost as much as XML, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, it predated XML, but yeah. Now Regan's the guy who gets to love all that. Yeah.
Extended.
And so they wanted to take that to go to IFC, did they?
What they wanted to do is take the CAD file with the extended entity data, rip some parts of that extended entity data out, and make spaces in IFC that can be used in a BIM product. And already, like with our guy playing around with it, this is sort of new stuff. But we had it going already last night. We're going to do a webinar on this sometime in the next year, in the next months even. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, definitely this is a big deal. And again, it'll be able to be done in an automated way. So that's pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. No, we're very excited about this. This really takes our BIM story to the next level. First, we added two things people asked for was Revit reading. We've done that, and now IFC writing. And IFC writing is not a trivial thing to do.
No.
And we've had Joel just working on it, and he's a very smart guy, and we're very excited about what he's been able to do this year. And again, give us feedback. We love the feedback, but we're very excited about this. This takes our BIM story to a great space.
Well, in the case like this, again, the automation is a big deal because I think they have more than 1,000 of these AutoCAD files that they want to do. So you really don't want to have some poor person sitting there going click, click, click.
No, you just want them to copy them into a directory.
Yep.
Yeah. So a web-based database for your mapping data. So we're starting to see these cloud systems more and more, and this is one we're excited to have added for FME 2015, so people can put the data in there and then see beautiful web maps.
Yeah, so it's another sort of destination. It can also be used as a source. We can read it and write it. So that's there. Don likes this one, so I'll let you address this one, Don.
Sure. JDBC, this is we're pretty excited about this. This is of course enables us to embrace the whole world of different JDBC data sources. And in this release, what we've done is we've built just a generic JDBC reader and writer, and it opens up a whole world of different data sources. And we're going to have a demo here shortly somewhere in this thing showing how there you go, how we can read and write spatial data and any data to SAP HANA, which is an in-memory database from SAP. And the thing about the demo on that from the JDBC standpoint is we never wrote a single line of code that was SAP HANA specific. Now, of course, in the future we could, or we may, to make it even simpler. But when you see the demo, you'll be impressed with how easy it is and how it just works. So again, this only counts as one format on our format list, but the world of JDBC adds many other different formats, including Neo4j, which was one that another one which we use this interface. Yeah. So that's so very exciting.
And then we thought we'd put a whole bunch of other ones up here to quickly refer to the Socrata side of things. We have been supporting that for a while, but a lot of work has gone into supporting their latest APIs. Google Maps Engine, raster, reading and writing. And on the ArcGIS server side, we can read a feature service. If you give us the URL to one, we can read that. And Portal at 10.3, we can work with that, as well as, of course, ArcGIS Online in general. Let's see.
And this slide, 4 of these 9 formats there are cloud. So that, again, gives an indication of where the world's going. Everything's moving to the cloud. And so, if people think the cloud is cloud definitely is not the future. Cloud is now. So and that's one of the areas we focus on with FME as well.
So I don't know, Don, if you saw the Tom Cruise movie, but we did have a little bit of fun with the TetGen icon today. So that we'll leave that out there.
I did.
So
that's awesome.
I think TetGen has never had such good marketing as we've given it. For our friends in Eastern Europe, we have SXF format, which is used in Russia and some of the countries in its neighborhood. And, of course, always some regional things, this Australian thing as well. That's an XML dialect, isn't it, Don?
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful thing.
Okay, Excel. Where does one? I know that we tried to make Excel awesome, and we're going to continue to make Excel awesome. I've got a list here of a lot of the things, and actually this is the time to introduce the fact that we've got a detailed list in our blog that's going live in a few minutes. If you go to blog.safe.com before the morning's out, there's a 40-page document, so you'll want to search it for your favorite things. But Excel, the areas in Excel I'll just mention here, we can write hyperlinks now to cells, so that's pretty powerful. We can throw pictures, rasters in there, so if you use an FME, let's say the Mapnik rasterizer, or you use some of our web services to pull tiles off of ArcGIS Online or something like that, you can jam them into an Excel document. We can read those hyperlinks back out, and then a bunch of things about text formatting. And in fact, I think actually if you have columns named Latin long, we'll automatically figure out that it's spatial.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the ability to put images right in the spreadsheets, because you'll recall a few years ago we did, or maybe last year we did one where we did QA where we had a picture of the thing, but it was an HTML file and it would look great in a browser. But now with this, of course, we could put all that into an Excel spreadsheet, which makes it really easy for folks to zing around and look at with their own tools.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, while of course we made updates to many different formats, and I mentioned some earlier, AutoCAD, Map Info, actually some very big performance improvements in the Map Info world for nasty polygons. We thought we'd call out our support for the Esri formats, or Esri family. There's a whole section in our what's great about it. I actually noticed, Don, we even did an update to E00. Can you believe it?
No, I did not know that. Wow.
So I guess there's people that had international E00 files, and there was no way. I think when E00 was written, ASCII was pretty much state of the art, so there wasn't any provision for encoding, and that's what we've fixed. But we've added support for the LASD files, which are the directory of LAS files, so you can read a whole bunch of LAS files. Of course, layers and map documents. The geodatabase side of things, we support that through a connection file. If you have 64-bit background processing installed and you use 64-bit FME, we will do 64-bit geodatabase. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That was one of the reasons why many people said they couldn't go to 64-bit FME before.
And actually, we had a party here. I think Don had decreed that the week that our download stats showed more 64-bit FMEs than 32. What did we do, Don?
We had ice cream cake. I'm a big ice cream cake guy.
And actually, if you had that where you are, if you go outside, it wouldn't melt. That would be nice.
Exactly. Yeah, it would actually become impossible to cut even. Yeah.
But anyway, so we do see the 64-bit side of geospatial picking up steam, and the ability to do Esri work in 64-bit, I think, is a huge tipping point there.
Yeah. A lot of our users work with the Esri stack, and so each release we really work hard taking all the feedback and the new functionality of Esri to make it as good as we possibly can.
Yeah.
So we're excited by a lot of things. On the building side, we're excited. We've been working very closely with Esri on that as well. So lots of exciting things in FME 2015. Now, how about that data interop, Dale? Am I allowed to ask what happens with the data interop, or should I not ask that question?
No, you can. For those that don't know, Esri does sell a very full subset of FME as something called the data interop extension, and it always picks up the most recent version of FME when it ships. So whenever 10.3.1, the next release from Esri, that'll have FME 2015 in there and all these good things. If you're a data interop user, you'll be getting just about everything that we're talking about here today. There's only a few things that we can't do, and that would only be because we have some arrangement with another third party that prevents us. But in general, all this stuff would be there. Hey, Don, I noticed that if you have a file geodatabase all zipped up, we can read that. So if folks want to work with file geodatabases that are zipped, that works. And the secret thing is we also, on James Fee's suggestion, if you zip up your shape files and name them .shz, we'll work with them as well. Shiz. And I think there was some kind of... there was some sort of reference to Snoop Dogg related to shiz that some people made that was humorous, but I'm not young enough and cool enough to know what that is. Bo Shizzle, or I don't know what it was.
No.
Anyway, so that's enough on
I don't know.
geodatabase, but it's a big deal in general, and you can look through the what's great and enjoy that when it comes. On the web services side, there's not specific transformers particularly around lots of web services, but we've done a huge amount of plumbing in the area of OAuth, which is foundational for us to begin to roll out some very powerful things with respect to web services. You can do them today. It's a little bit awkward, but we're going to make it better, but at least you can. I know, Don, did your group do some work with even Box, I think, with OAuth?
Yes, we did. Yep, we were using Box to, to read and write files to Box, handling through OAuth. But as you say, it's, from a user standpoint, we can make it much better. But our ultimate goal really is to make FME the perfect web services integration platform. And so, like Dale said, much of the plumbing on the OAuth side has been done, and so you can expect we're going to continue to work on that and bring it to you know, FME and FME server. So very exciting.
Yeah. And this business here on the database side, we know the stat is that 90% of FME users are using a database of some kind or another, and a kind of hidden gem in FME is our ability to do updates and deletes and so on. And it's been a little bit, shall we say, non-standard how we've done that. And so we've, I actually heard that there's a 40-page checklist, which makes me a little nervous, for each format to adhere to make it consistent with every other one. And so that might be why we only got one done, SQL Server, in this release, but the rest of them will follow quickly. And so you, of course, you can do updates and deletes in all the database formats today, but what's happening is that as we move forward, it's going to become easier and easier.
Yeah, yeah. And certainly when Dale says database, he doesn't mean databases just on-premise. Many of the new formats that, or new data storage things in the web, actually to FME, they very much are a database in the cloud. And so even moving forward, now that we have this great document, we'll make sure that anything new we add will adhere to this. So we stop digging the hole as well. So
in fact, actually, Don, I'm told that the SharePoint list does this. So
great.
Because you can kind of view SharePoint as if it's a database in the cloud. It's not a full one, but there's some of these things that can be done.
Yep. And of course, this thing, not all of these make sense for all databases.
Exactly.
You know, for example, the Google, because some of them are append-only databases, and so you're not going to ever be able to update. But for any database, whether it be SQL or non-SQL, we do what we can to make it fit to this where it makes sense.
Yeah, the team has done a fabulous job with this, and we're excited to see this roll out. Again, I think I'm underselling this because I think File Geodatabase API, the one that doesn't need UseArch objects, has this treatment already as well. And there's a few other ones floating around that have had this treatment. So now we'll switch gears and talk about transformation.
Yeah, and this is really the power of FME. The Connect is just getting the data in, and now this is all about what are you going to do with it, and our so that you can get the data where you need it, how you need it, and this is all about getting it however you need it. So yeah, and our state-of-the-art tools that our desktop and data inspector. So lots of excitement there.
Yeah, those things are the authoring environment, and we've spent a lot of effort tuning them up continually. We're always working on them. So here's just a quick overview.
Sure. And I know I spend a lot of my time in server, but really, in many ways, Workbench and the Data Inspector are FME. They really are the key advantages. And when people think about FME, they think about this authoring environment. And so this is obviously where we spend a lot of our time. Yeah.
So a number of things that we'll go through here on Workbench. The goal is always to make your experience with it more happy, more pleasing, more fast, more simple. And these are hard tasks to accomplish, but we work hard at it. One that I think will have people dancing in the streets is this resizable business.
Yeah, I'm doing the wave right now.
Yeah, it's one of these things that once you have it, you go kind of like, why didn't we do it? The purists among you that want everything the same may find this annoying and jarring, but you don't have to use it.
Don't use it. Yeah, you don't have to use it. We're not going to force you.
But so by default, things will come out of when you put stuff down, it'll be the same old size as it always was, but it's very fast if you want to resize. We'll show that in a second.
Yep, for us who are anal and really like everything lined up perfectly.
Yeah. The cartographers among us.
That's right. I like it, and that Dimitri told me I'm no cartographer.
Yes. Don, do you use this history tree much, or have you seen folks use it?
When I first saw this, to be honest, I thought, geez, this is okay, yeah, I'll never use this. And then I was building a workspace, and I realized that about 2 hours ago on one of my paths, I really had what I wanted, or I wanted to go back there. This thing was like magic because I didn't have to go undo. I could just navigate. And then after using it, I actually had 2 or 3 branches in it. I'm a big fan now.
Yeah, apparently this comes from Photoshop or some tools like that. But basically, it tracks what you're doing, and if you undo and kind of go up another path, it's all there, and then you can just double-click anywhere and bop around. So some of the early adopters sure like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is this moving for you there, Don?
It is. It is. What's happening there?
So this is the dynamic feature counts. If you missed it, we'll show it in a minute. But as you're running, you see the lines being updated. And boy, that's been, again, one of these things we thought was just kind of eye candy, but it really gives you feedback as to what in the world's going on and what the choke points are in your workspace.
Yeah, yeah, and again, we had a big workspace come in, and we were running it, and we were actually able to see exactly where the time's being spent. So if you have a workspace that's taking a long time and you want to know where the time's being spent, you can actually tell now visually by running it in Workbench. And we actually had, a transformer. Something went wrong, and the translation just stopped. And again, visually, we were able to say, that's the problem right there, without anything, which was huge value for, us and the developer to figure out what was wrong, because we didn't have to look at a workspace with 1,000 transformers. We were able to nail down saying that's the transformer that had the problem. So huge value, and it is fun to watch too.
Yes, it is. It helps you understand the graph of what the crazy world of FME is up to too. So it's very useful. I found it very time-saving for me because even as a non-developer, if I bump into something as I'm kind of running, I can instantly tell without waiting for the translation to finish if stuff's gone awry, and that's been
yes,
been wonderful.
Yes, that's another good. Whereas before you had to wait till the end. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So this thing here, this run with full inspection, we've added a button there, which you'll see, and it does slow stuff down when you use that one, but really you don't have to put down inspectors anymore, and so you run with that thing, and then you get the numbers will appear, but they're going to be filled in, and that's your clue that you can double click on them and have stuff happen. And this is sad, Don, because the machine went to sleep on me.
Oh my goodness.
Wakey, wakey, Windows 8.1. Okay, well, it's always a bit of a risk when you fire up a machine from sleeping, but this is the example that I wanted to run. This is going to show a couple of things, actually. So if I just run it normally, you'll see the numbers should go rolling by. Are you seeing them there in Ottawa?
I'm seeing them. I can see them. Wow.
What this is showing is...
there's a lot of things that are rejected, Dale. I think you have problems.
Right. So in normal running, if stuff goes out rejected, which means you've put something bad into one of our transformers, if something goes out in the rejected side of things, then we're going to light it up for you, because that before they would be quiet, hidden, and you wouldn't know. And so you'd have to have connected this to a terminator or a logger or something. Now you don't have to, whoa, am I ever gone off the rails here? And actually, because that's filled in, even though I hit that button, a double click on one of these babies, with any luck. Come on, baby. Well, I'll do this. Yeah, there we go. A double click would do it too, but I think my machine is a little bit slow. It'll bring up and show me exactly what went wrong there. I can see the features at least that had that problem. Yeah.
Okay, so to run that, you just click the button that's run with full inspection to enable all that?
No, that was just with normal running, and then the rejected ones get lit up like that. But what happened is once we saw that...
So the rejected ones get lit up all the time, yeah.
Yes. Once we saw that, we said, you know what, we can have this run with full inspection, and that lets us see the data at every step along the way. So you can see that these things are being lit up in filled in.
Yes.
And so after this is done, at any spot in here, I can see everything, including all the, like if anything would have come out the holder, for example, any yellow output port, no matter rejected or not, will be lit up. And so I can then go and see all the data that would have flowed through anything here. So I can see, for example, if I look at this one, what came through this geometry filter that was looking for arcs. And if
huge
I flip over here,
huge time saver. Huge time saver, because of course in the past when you're doing development, what I would have to do is connect a logger or a inspector on all of them to see what was coming out.
Yes.
And of course, that's really painful. Now you just do that, and you can see they come out, and then you go, wow, why is something rejected? There shouldn't be anything rejected there. So
exactly.
Very nice.
So that's the big deal on that bit of functionality that we thought we'd quickly take a peek at. Oh, this automatic business is interesting too, because what this will do is define for you your output feature types automatically based on the data coming in. So you don't have to, I guess, recreate that. And that is quite. We'll show that in a minute. Another example.
Yeah.
And this one, inside of our dialogues, if you're new to FME, we are now trying to use terms that more closely match the format you're working with. So this one is for AutoCAD.
Yes.
And it says layer name.
Yeah.
Here we are in map info.
Yeah. The thing I like about all these, I was thinking about, what we've done with FME Workbench in this release, and trying to come up with one sort of term that might cover everything. And really, the thing that came to my mind was cognitive load.
Yes.
And this is just another example. Now a user doesn't have to use their valuable gray cells to figure out what feature type name is. If you're a database guy, you just see table name. If you're a CAD guy, you just see what you ever want. And same with the thing of that you showed with the full inspection. No longer do I have to use my gray matter to figure out where I'm going to put a logger, where I'm going to put an inspector. It's just going to do it for me. So so great FME Workbench now, I'd say in 2015 has a lower cognitive load than FME 2014.
Yeah, that's a big principle. This whole named connections business as well lets us save a set of parameters that you use to connect to a database and have that defined once, and then you don't have those bits of information in every workspace. You just have a reference to it. So if you change the password, you only go change it in one place, and all your workspaces just work. If I share my workspace with Don, you go ahead, Don.
Yeah. Are you telling me that if I worked with two databases, I could just define two connections, and then when I'm working in workspaces, I could just use those two connections, and then if my password changed, I just change the password there, and I wouldn't have to go revisit all my workspaces? Is that what you're saying?
That's what it means. It also means that if I send you my workspace, you don't get my password.
But I like getting your password.
I remember when we did a Tesla thing a couple years ago, embedded in the workspace was my Tesla account password, which would have allowed people to order me new cars, and did get sent out to customers.
Yes, and I believe I did order a new car, but somehow you stopped it.
So that wouldn't happen in the future. So that's the name connection.
That's right.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, and probably you and I were talking, and probably from an FME standpoint, I mean, this is a drastic new change.
Yeah.
And like any drastic new change, there's going to be things we got right and things we got wrong. So again, as you use it, let us know. We don't, this is just the beginning of this, and we've worked hard to sand off, a lot of the rough edges, but there's probably a corner or two that we've missed, and do let us know, what you like and what you don't like. But we know we have this is definitely the right direction, and I'm very excited about it, as is Dale and others who have used it. But please let us know.
If you don't want to use these named connections, this embed connection parameters is actually what we've always done. So your old workspaces will start up and just say that they have embedded connection parameters. And so that's the way. If I want Don to get my password, I just flip this. There's a way to right-click once you've got a named connection and say, "No, switch it to be embedded." And now I've severed the link to the shared password. I've now embedded it in my workspace. I mail it to Don. He can go order me a new Tesla.
Perfect.
So on the data inspector, we continue to add more background map options. So Microsoft Bing, Nokia here, Google Maps Engine. If you have accounts or developer licenses of each of these, and our prompt will kind of point you to the directions on how to get this going, then you can see that. And this is actually Easter Island, on the airstrip of Easter Island that we looked at in each of these three.
Is that right? So MapQuest was added sometime in 2014 then?
Yeah, there's a bunch. So why don't I go over here and I'll bring up this example of the SAP HANA demo and show a few things.
Right.
The connection uses a named connection, as we hinted at. We're going to read from that HANA thing, and I'm going to go to a data inspector. I'll also run this with full inspection, so if I feel like it, I could see some of the data along the way, but let's go ahead and run this thing.
Okay.
Oh, this thing here is kind of a bit annoying, Don. So watch what I'm
go
going to do here. So this thing, I can't see what it actually is. It looks like rants. So this is, what is this, a place, a map of where people ranted?
System rants.
Aha!
Yeah.
I double-clicked on that nice little line that appeared, and it went to maximum. I can drag this, and there you go.
That's a thing of beauty.
If I
so where's this SAP HANA running?
It's on Amazon somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to connect to the cloud. Notice the guidelines appear that are helping me line that up underneath.
Yep.
And if I do this kind of thing and select them both, and then go out here, I can stretch them both at the same time. So some of those nice things for our cartographically enthusiastic friends. So I'm going to go ahead and run this thing with full inspection just for fun. And you can see the numbers flying by.
Yep.
And so if I wanted to see this before the geometry replacer, we're reading the HANA right now and getting the OGC well-known binary out of it.
Yep.
There we have it. And notice how it asks me, do I want to put a background map on? So I'm going to go ahead and
lovely.
Why don't I do that? And let's try Bing. And so normally I'd have to go in here. I've set this up ahead of time, so I've got my fancy key and stuff in there. And if I just say apply, with any luck whatsoever, there it is. There's a Bing background map. If I wanted to see a GME background map, I've got this set up ahead of time, so I should be able to do that, and now hit apply.
Yeah.
And again, with luck.
Yep, ArcGIS is there too, I imagine.
Yep, there's ArcGIS Online. That was the first one we did, and that would work fine. MapQuest, that works without any developer information. That's just a free thing that MapQuest puts out, so there it is. And actually, Nokia here is another one that we did, and so anyway, you can flip between and see your data on whatever you have chosen as your reference platform in your organization. So that's
fantastic.
I think that's about all I wanted to show there. I won't. I'll just mention that if we add a writer, I'll do a geopackage here. So let's do that. If I wanted to add a writer, it says table definition automatic. So if I go in here, there's no attributes at all. I'm going to say automatic. Good. If I take this thing and connect it here, bang, you see that the whole schema has been defined for me. If I go in here and look at the user attributes, there they all are within their true definition. And if I go, just to kind of show what this means, if I go in here and let's select this and say an attribute remover, and if I go and let's just go kind of crazy and remove a whole bunch. Actually, I could do this. I could select them all and then just say I only wanted to keep these three. Bang. So bang goes the dynamite. I now have only that. So that's pretty slick. And then if I get it the way I like, of course, I can flip it over to manual. And now no matter what I do, that isn't going to change.
You can add others?
Yep, I could go and start typing. If I go to manual, then I can start typing stuff like that.
Whatever you want.
So that's the concept of that.
Okay, sorry. Okay. On the HANA thing, well, HANA has spatial data, but I said earlier we didn't write a single line of code that was specific to SAP HANA. So how did you take the geometry from SAP HANA and turn it into, because that's, because like JDBC doesn't support. So what did you do there?
So when we read the raw table, we got the geom column out as it comes out actually as some kind of binary encoded well-known. No, it's hex encoded well-known binary. There we go. And so all we did was tell FME.
How does FME?
Yep.
Oh wow.
We just had that in there. So we could,
I know, that was lucky.
So if you give us geometry encoded in this way, which this thing just returns, and actually we've encountered other JDBC databases that give us this stuff back as just normal well-known text or well-known binary, then we can respatialize it here. Yeah,
perfect.
So,
so there you go. It's as easy as that. And writing it was just as easy, really. We just looked at it as anything, and except what did we pump into it? Well-known binary?
I'd have to ask Raven. It's either I think it takes well-known text. I think if you write well-known text, it just does the right thing.
Perfect.
Same kind of concept. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
So
And
now we'll
behind the
just
scenes, it just converts it there.
we'll go through some things on the engine. We won't talk through all of these different transformers here. Don, I think what would be your favorite on this list?
I mean, anything that's web, I like. The S3, I like. I mean, again, it really just shows how the web, and cloud stuff. I mean, most of them are all about the cloud, really, other than FTP, which, I mean, you could even argue that that's about the cloud too.
Yeah. So abilities to do things there. Here's a set of transformers that arguably help certain formats. I would highlight the PDF one, which allows you to define areas, route features through, then route the output to your PDF, and stuff will go where it's supposed to. Yeah.
Takes PDF to a whole new level. Now even I could create, beautiful PDF documents.
Point clouds, some operations there. The statistics calculator, probably the best one. Very useful for extracting average heights of roofs and things like that. So run a point cloud through a clipper to get out a point cloud for every one of your roofs, and then run that through a stats calculator, get the mins and maxes, standard deviations. You can do some clever things. Yeah. These are all used for 3D, different ways of dealing with textures, very, very powerful on their own.
Yeah, and the GML feature composer, again, the naming of this one was the most controversial thing, but what this enables you to do is to now take GML documents or GML snippets and embed them in other XML documents. Believe it or not, we've come across use cases for that, where it's an XML document, but within the XML document, some of the tags or some of the components of it are actual GML features, and so they're not per se a GML. It's not a GML document. It's an XML document with GML embedded data, and so that's why we built this.
Yep. And some high performance things on the feature merger, very hot transformer, a bunch of work done there. I think to get the maximum benefit, you got to put a new one down and use it. Neighbor finder for some scenarios, literally orders of magnitude faster. And there's just a swath of places where these sorts of speed improvements would be happening.
Yeah, and we, in FME 2015, we really focused on a few key things for performance, and performance is one of those things where nobody ever says it's too fast, and so you can look forward to 2015 for us to, take our performance, effort and take it to the next level in more broad ways. But in this release, we really focused on a few key paths that were really needed attention.
Yeah.
So what kind of car is that in the background there? It looks like a Honda Civic or something.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty sweet picture, actually. So, Don, I'll probably let you talk through these ones here, which are the next set talks about server, and we'll let you talk through them.
Sure, absolutely. And it's all about, server's all about automation. With the goal is you've set up some workflows. How can you make it so that you can sit back and just relax? The ultimate goal really is you set something up, set it, and forget it. Yeah. And so obviously server is the thing there. We talk about FME server. Remember, FME cloud is FME server. It's just another way to launch FME server. So everything I talk about here is 100% applicable to FME cloud as well. And one of the things when you use FME server, right away you're going to see a new interface. The old interface was showing its age. It wasn't reactive, which meant that as you resize the windows, or if you use a different device like a tablet or a mobile phone, you didn't get a nice view of the FME server. So you can see there's 3 shots there that show how the window, the presentation changes dynamically as the window browser size or the device in which you're looking at FME server changes to. We're going to hit more in a webinar. Obviously, we're going quick here. But one of the other things we've added to FME server is now you can install components through the web admin. So before, if you, let's say you're using a Java library or a Python library using the Python caller, you would have to log on to each engine and install those .py files or .pyc files. Now, with FME server, you can simply drop them in a shared resources place in the FME server web interface, and then they'll be available to all your workspace no matter what engine it runs on. And also for custom transformers, custom formats, custom coordinate systems if you have those, Java libraries like the JDBC that we saw for SAP HANA, for example. There's a JDBC driver that has to be installed, and so now with FME Server, you simply drop that into a directory and it'll just work. And so we're very excited about that. And other things that happened, what we did is we stress test FME Server a lot to see where it breaks, and then we identify where it breaks, and then we fix those things. So now we have advanced engine cleanup. So FME engine watches itself with self-monitoring, and we'll clean things up. If an engine goes down for any reason, maybe an engine crashes, ooh, don't want to say that, or there's the hardware failure, whatever, when that engine comes up, all temp files are cleaned up. So you never, again, will find that you have an FME server where there was some leaked temp file that starts chewing up all your disks. So that was a big one. You can also define cleanup tasks for all resources and add engines through the web UI. So again, you don't have to monkey around with text files. And a small thing, but again, it's the small things that make a difference too, is we reorganize the log file directory so that you can find the current logs much easier. Okay, this is a big one for developers. Awesome. Often you'll need to you'll need to share resources. You'll have one web server call another web server, and in the past, it was very difficult to do this. Now they'll just click the link, which shows a demo, and now you can really easily embed FME server, have an FME server running and call it from within, or have your FME server call out to other web servers. So it's it's a big deal. So we're pretty excited about that. And yeah, so that's that one. Yeah. Oh, and also we made it really easy to change your host name, which is something that people ask for quite often. So yeah.
So I'm just showing Don. I did that translation, and there it is. It appeared. Do you see what I did there?
I did. That was awesome. I wasn't sure if that was you or if that was a movie.
Yeah, no, I hit the thing to download the data. I just copied that link, which is an FTP address, I think, or no, an HTTP thing, and then I pasted it into FME Data Inspector, and off it went. So there we go.
Yeah, it just works. So it's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, and improved integrations. The directory watch we've had for a while, but before, if you copied over a big file, you would get several file modifieds. Now you only ever get one create, modify, or add message per file. So it makes the workflows much easier to use, and you don't have to try to be clever and debounce these things within your workspaces or anything like that. Much better. Same thing for S3. Now if you drop a file or something into an S3 bucket or path on a bucket, in a bucket, you will get a notification again, and that'll trigger an automation. So all about automations. And of course, we've improved our email, so now you can use any email server you want, Google, Microsoft, anything that has an IMAP interface. And you can also push the output data to Amazon S3 and FTP. So again, just making things easier to use. On the FME real-time stuff, we've worked closely with a few partners and clients, and now through JMS, we're able to process 10,000 JMS messages per second. And remember, that's per engine. So if you need to do more than that, then you would just simply fire up another engine, assuming, of course, that your JMS is able to push that many messages. But that's how many. It's actually 11,000, but I rounded it to a nice number. And part of that is this thing called Run Forever mode, which is this notion that if you have an FME engine that's locked onto JMS and is to process these messages as they come in, you want to make sure that workspace is always running. So now we have a mode where even if the server is shut down for a period of time or something happens, that job is terminated, or maybe periodically you just want to terminate it so it comes up clean, the FME server itself will ensure that job is always running. So it doesn't matter what you do. You start it once, and across reboots and everything, it'll continue to always be there, which is a big deal for many workflows. Yeah. Okay, and for developers, I mean, we add a lot of functionality. So now, if you look up FME Server Playground, you're going to come to this page, and this screen just shows all the different demos that are there. You can watch them, you can download them, you can do all those great things. There's also there's JavaScript library, which has a JavaScript library for FME Server, so you can use JavaScript to talk to FME Server there. There's code samples, so that's the other thing you find. So if you want to do something, developers hate to start with no code. I mean, I'm a developer, Dale's a developer. Getting some code samples that even show you how to do things, approximate what you want to do, is a huge deal. So the FME Server Developer Playground is a big, big, important area for us that we're continuing to work on. Yeah. Okay, so now FME Cloud. So FME Cloud, as I said, is FME Server. It's you know, it makes sense when you have your data is in the cloud or one of the endpoints is in the cloud. If all your data is on premise, then FME Cloud makes less sense. But the moment you start leveraging anything outside your premise, then you're good to go with FME Cloud. FME Cloud, the nice thing about cloud is things just happen with a little effort. So the first thing is that FME Cloud now is about 2 times faster than when we launched it. And that's just a matter of Amazon improving the hardware. And we look at our price points. And if there's a faster machine for the same, we just embrace that faster hardware. We might tell you that it's faster, but we don't, you know, we're not going to charge you more for that. It's just so as time goes on, FME Cloud is getting faster. You think about it, they're buying new hardware all the time, and hardware prices are always going down, and so cloud gets cheaper. Really, the big thing with FME Cloud is you can fire up an FME server in minutes. Do something, you can think of it as disposable FME server. Maybe you have a project. We've had a few clients with projects where they need FME server for a few months, and they'll fire it up, do the project, and shut it down. Also prototyping, things like that, pilots, proof of concepts. You don't have to worry about IT. You can just fire one up. It's outside your corporate IT infrastructure, and so it's a nice place to play around with FME Server. We've also made it easier to manage now. If you're an organization, you can have one master account, and you can have many different people who are controlled by that master account. It's good from an accounting standpoint, as well as you know, for an organization to control who's doing what and that sort of thing. And of course, we're hearing lots and lots about security in the cloud, and you know, even U.S. government's Twitter account got hacked, and we heard about Sony and all these crazy things. With FME Cloud, we're building on AWS, and AWS is the industry leading from a security standpoint, and so using FME Cloud, you get all that great security stuff that they've done. Plus, we are in the background. We give you the option of whether you want security patches automatically applied or not. So FME Cloud is definitely a secure place for your data and your workflows. And so, yeah, so whew, that was fast.
Yes.
So
just to kind of wrap it up, with FME 2015, we say that it's your data wherever, however, and whenever you need it. You connect, you transform, you automate. And that's really what we hope we have made easier and more powerful for all of you. I know that we're basically out of time. We'll just remind you that we've got...
Yeah, what if I want to learn more? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we have a couple of webinars coming up, which we're going to dive into deep dive on each of these, and even the deep dives, there'll be lots of stuff we won't be able to cover, but we're certainly going to be able to go a lot deeper than we did here. So and they're in a couple of weeks.
So I think with that, we'll say to folks, hey, we're done. We know your time is valuable, so we've used up our hour. You can continue to ask questions, those of you that want to. Dawn and I are going to hang around since we haven't seen each other for a few days, and we'll answer any questions. We'll get Mark and Robin on the line, but if you need to leave, go ahead and do that. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy FME 2015 as much as we have had fun building it. And any last comments you'd like to say on before the Q&A?
No, I just want to thank you, Dale. It's always great working with you. It's been another great year with you and the team, and thanks everybody for tuning in. And please do you know, get back to us and let us know what you like FME to do and where the problems are. At SAFE, we talk about the restaurant model a lot, and that's we have to have a good product and a good service, and part of that is getting feedback from our customers, and who really we refer to as our partners, and so we really rely on that to make FME better. So yeah.
So I think with that, we'll bid adieu to those that need to leave, and we'll ask if Mark and Robin want to come in and ask us or kind of reflect on some of the questions that were asked. So Mark, Robin, either of you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think in general there are a lot more thank yous. Wow, that's great. Good work in amongst the questions, but we've certainly had our fingers going on the typing, and the questions are still pouring in. But the grid was well accepted, being able to line your transformers up again. Named connections was a huge hit. So a lot of the workbench stuff was greatly received. They loved the enhancements to the data inspector. So a couple of requests for new formats, so we'll pass those along.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it's just been overwhelming. I can't really think of anything else, so unless Mark has got anything more to add.
It is overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of threads, I think. Quite a few people were asking about a deep dive for BIM.
Yes.
So
IFC.
we've got a webinar planned for that. I think late March or February. April, not February. Late March or February. A couple of people asked when will the FME 2015 features be available in the data interop?
Yes, and that'll be with 10.3.1, and so we don't control that release timeline from our Esri friends, but I would guess that it's less than 6 months and more likely closer to 3.
Yeah, and then there were also quite a few good questions about when FME will be, if ever FME will be totally 64-bit and we can get rid of 32-bit, or are we always going to have to hang on to 32-bit?
Well, Don, do you want to talk about our strategy there?
Sure. Definitely, the plan is to move FME to be 64-bit. There are a few formats in the 32-bit world right now that hold us there, and PDF, 3D PDF is one of them. But we're working on each of those. Yeah. And right now we're even moving 64-bit being the primary development and test program for a test platform for our test suite. And so I only run 64-bit. I know Dale only runs 64-bit. And one thing that got me excited about this release is that the fact that now all the Esri stuff runs in 64-bit, because that was one sort of thing that kept people in the 32-bit world. Yeah.
So we also did a bunch of work because some of the high memory situations have different fingerprints or characteristics, and in this release we did a huge amount of testing to tune our use of memory. Ironically, while there would appear to be unlimited memory in a 64-bit world, that doesn't mean it's a good plan to use it all. And so we found that actually sometimes using less is better for your overall health. There's probably a life lesson in there.
Yes, that's right.
Any other good questions for us, Mark?
Yeah, somebody just asked if FME Desktop was Windows only. No, and that's been for a couple of years now. FME Desktop has been Unix and Macs, and I don't know if you noticed, but some of these demos may have been being done on a Macintosh. So FME Server
Absolutely.
runs on Unix and Windows as well.
Yeah, so right now I'm on my Mac with this. We know we have a little more tuning to do on the UI. There's some things that we want to refine on those other platforms, but lots of us at SAFE run FME routinely, not on Windows.
Yep.
Anything else?
Somebody wants to know about integration with Tibco. Do you guys know much about Tibco ESB?
We know that company some, and we probably should look at ways we could fit in. I mean, the answer, the kind of rote answer, is that because FME server really turns all the power of FME just into REST calls, there would almost certainly be a way from Tibco to be able to orchestrate calling different web calls in FME server. But having said that, we could look at ways of integrating more tightly. Over the years, Don, you've done work with Informatica in this way, and maybe
Yep.
Data Stage.
Yep. Yeah. And like Dale says, it's just a matter of looking at the calls and you know, and then putting the work there. So it'd be good to get more information from that user, find out exactly what they would like to do. That's there's nothing like a good scenario to nail down what they want us to do. Yeah.
But
now, how about the world tour? When's the world tour?
oh yeah, we didn't mention that at all. We're going to be on the road here. We should have had a map of our world tour stops, but when are we going on the road? April, what? Middle of April, I guess.
April, the week of April 15th. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to be in 15 cities in North America simultaneously, so that's a tricky thing to pull off.
Yeah. And probably close to 100 worldwide by the time we're all said and done.
Yeah, there's ones all over the place. So FMEWT is the thing to search for if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think that's probably, other than folks, if you want to roll up the sleeves and dig in, please join us at those other 2 webinars in a couple weeks' time. And as Don mentioned, be our guests anywhere around the world when we're doing FME World Tour. Should be a lot of fun and a lot of a lot of interest will be shown. I think we last year, what was the total number of attendees? Was it 2,000 worldwide or 3?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But a very large number of you spent time with us for a day, and we loved it.
Yeah.
All right. So I think with that, we'll sign off, and I want to thank Robin and Mark for fielding all those questions. Don, great working with you, and can't wait to have you back here. Enjoying all the excitement around here.
Can't wait to get back.
It's always fun.
Always. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, everybody, and enjoy FME 2015. By now, it should be on our website. Actually, I'll just sign off by looking at that. Should we dare to look, Don? What's on safe.com?
Oh, look at that.
So,
that's awesome. That is great.
And here's sort of the summary.
That's only up in the last few minutes.
Yeah, here's the summary of what's new. And if you go to blog.safe.com, I would bet, here's the encyclopedic version, which you'll want to search for your favorite thing. If I want to search for geodatabase, there we go. And so anyway, you get the idea. All right, folks, have fun. See if you can bring our website down by downloading FME 2015, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
Yeah, goodbye.